anything personal on in this one.
Is.
There's always going to be that part that says, I really hope I made the right decision.
I think it might be personal in a few cases here, you know. There's just so much at stake here. It's such a meaningful thing to get a deep run in your first tournament together, and to do it against your former team, it would be such a big deal. Already Karmine Corp are getting in a complete jam in defense there with all three players getting in each other's way. Moist starting off a little bit more loose. They look spread out. They already look like they've got an advantage here. A save on the goal line is required to keep Karmine Corp from conceding inside the first 30 seconds.
So to bring you up to date, during the off-season, Vatira moved away from Moist. We heard yesterday from Rise, I believe it was, who said this was not our decision. Vatira, he's the one that wanted this. He's gone over to Karmine Corp to try and prove himself on an org that he loves. He's brought along Exotic, he's brought along Itachi. It's now Vatira with a clear away. Just so many lingering doubts for everybody involved. On the field, off the field, everyone wants answers about a roster move that shocked everybody. It's Exotic does leave it. Itachi's there, but he's also blocked by Astral.
It's so interesting to see two teams switch players who really don't play Rocket League similarly at all. Vatira and Astral don't have a lot of things in common. The one thing they do have in common, however, is that they're ridiculously good at the game. Two of the best players in the world, certainly. Right now in Moist, we've got three really aggressive players. Players who are known for cutting rotation, players who are known for just solo playing entire teams by themselves. And I think on Karmine Corp we got three defensive players, but they've both made it work. They're both here in the semi-final in a stacked bracket, a stacked tournament in Europe. So both teams have figured out a way to really not play that, 1, 2, 3, first, second, third man rotation. As it's going to be Moist to break the deadlock. Joyo with the first goal. Karmine Corp just could not get this one under control in the back corner.
Yeah, Vatira's mistouch did not help out, considering Exotic was being harassed by Astral. Just everything going wrong at the worst possible time. And I do love that you brought up sort of the surprising replacements that were brought in, especially for Astral. But many people I was seeing yesterday saying that this actually looks, for Astral, a team that you'd expect him to be struggling to find space, like the most space and the most comfortable he's looked in quite some time. We'll see whether or not that works for him as Vatira up and sees his shot palmed away.
It's a great passing play. It's not going to lead to anything for Karmine Corp. I think the whole situation with Astral looking good in a more defensive role, Vatira looking good in a more offensive role, it really just goes to show how talented these players are and how adaptable these players are. And it also goes to show that Rocket League's more than just a first, second, third man game. You've got to be adaptable. Even if you are the priority defender or priority attacker in a team, you can't just rely on doing that. You need to be adaptable. You need to be able to play all positions. And these two teams are definitely capable of that. But this tournament, Moist have been the more consistent team at doing that. Karmine Corp still, I think, yet to really figure out in defense. Their one goal they've conceded this game coming from, like you said, a defensive mistouch. And Vatira's actually played that one away from Itachi as well. The synergy not working out so far for Karmine Corp.
Yeah, and it's been mistakes from Vatira that have been the most prevalent.
Yeah.
Important to note as well, Moist are the only undefeated team left, but Exotic can hit them as clean as that. That undefeated streak might not last.
Big 50-50 win from Itachi. Exotic up quickly, uncontested there. Rise was not expecting that ball to center that high across the box. He was circling towards the near post, wanted to fill that gap in the defense. The ball just arced over the top of him. Exotic was more ready for the high ball, which ended up being the outcome.
Into the midfield, Vatira, heavy first touch, wiped out by Rise. Vatira will be landing sometime before the game ends, but not quite yet, as he is now moved into the midfield. No follow-up option here for Exotic, who has got the ball played past him, and Rise has still got good control. It's him versus Vatira. Oh. Vatira pre-jumped it by quite a distance.
For a moment it looked like Rise might be about to mind game his old teammate there, but Vatira got the better of him and he's gone the whole way to set up Exotic's second goal of the game. Vatira steps up, air dribbling the entire length of the field, forces a missed touch from Astral, and now it's Karmine Corp with the 1 goal lead.
1 minute and 9 seconds remaining in this game as well. Anyone that's seen Vatira's Wands play as well understand that he can go for those early jumps. He's so good at just loitering at the perfect height where you can't go underneath him. It's just a frustration because you feel like you've beat him. You feel like you've got him beat. He's already jumped. And what else can he possibly do? And he goes to prove that actually it was always in his hands. Vatira already in the corner. Joyo past one, but Exotic will get that relatively unchallenged. Karmine Corp doing a good job actually on the transition game about not allowing Moist to get any contact. Is that number 3? Not quite yet. And now Astral on the breakaway.
Yeah, great save there from Joyo, but it looks like more trouble for Moist. Rise doing the smart thing here. Wise from Rise once again as he just slows the ball down, gives his teammates time to grab boost. And now here comes Joyo. Reset secured. It's going to be a drop down pass
this
from Rise.
so good if it goes in.
Skeptical, but Astral makes it work. That was a bit of a stretch, but it has ended up in the back of the net. The 3-man passing play from Moist ties the game.
That is so good. The two players that know each other better than anyone else combine together and give Astro his opportunity to score a team play worldie. But Exotic, the kickoff! Moist! Well, we saw this at the World Championships, and you can take Vatira out, but some things never change.
Oh my god, I just cannot believe Moist have done this.
Hold it for 18 seconds.
Believe it.
Oh, you can do it during the between games, but for now, Moist have got 18 seconds to get back.
Yeah, they've still got time. That is such a throw. What an incredible switch of momentum. They've just pulled off a 3-man passing play to tie the game, and then immediately afterwards, they just send full send the kickoff, and can see. I just can't believe this.
Well, Itachi has to get the ball to the floor, and they will finish this. Moist will not get another opportunity. Johnny, Karmine Corp stole it.
Yeah, what a...
Yeah, can I even say stole it? It was gift wrapped.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say... maybe they didn't steal it. Yeah, it was definitely gifted to them. They just took it. They just accepted. They accepted the gift.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
Did so well. The 3-man passing play was fantastic. The drop-down pass really coming at a very weird angle there. Completely surprised Vatira, who wasn't ready for it on the goal line. And then immediately afterwards, they just play a risky kickoff. It wasn't the first time that they did that in the game either. They just darted down the line with, Joyo darted down the line in defense. And that, of course, leaves the net wide open if the close cheat and dead ball kickoff doesn't go in their favor. We saw this exact same thing yesterday. It is just a complete unnecessary risk. You know, you do that if you're losing. You don't do that in a tight game with 18 seconds left.
Well, like I said, we saw that at the World Championship. At least the spirit of Moist has not changed, but maybe the kickoffs need to as we head into game number 2. Heading over to Aquadome. KC have got themselves on the board. Is there anything that you've noticed? Not again. Not surely. Again, it's just giving them the angles, and that actually is going to go in anyway. KC had full control right off the kickoff.
Yeah, just love that. Rise panics. He doesn't get that ball to safety at all. It's more of a pass than a clear. And Moist have had their moments here. They started off strong, and they did extremely well to bounce back in game number 1. But it's just all going wrong here. We've not seen any card changes yet. So as of game 1 and 2, we've got a complete Octane Moist versus Fennec Karmine Corp matchup. And you know, how much sense would that make for the Fennecs to be the more consistent and careful cars, and the Octanes to be the ones throwing themselves around and making the risky plays? Yeah, I think it does make a lot of sense. It's been talked about by a lot of pros that, you know, the Octane is a more chaotic car, and the Fennec is what you do when you want to play controlled. And that's what Karmine Corp have done well so far in these games.
Rise, has he got the reset? Well, he doesn't have any boost. It's going to make this... Well, I was going to say getting back was going to take a while, but the demo's certainly going to help him with that. Astral trying to line Exotic up. That comes out to Joyo. 2 players jumped. Itachi lands well, though. Booms the ball long. Vatira looking for another set. And despite a bit of a rough start to this series, Vatira has settled down very well. Itachi waited too long. Rise. Happy just to snatch that one away from him.
Yeah, very nice defensive play from Itachi's. Keeping an eye on where the threats are coming from. Cut off an infield pass not long ago. You know, we had a chance to talk to Itachi yesterday in the post-match interview after their quarterfinal win. He says that, you know, that's what they're really trying to do, is just have everyone take their turn being that third, and everyone take their turn slowing down the play. If you've got to make an interception, then just go ahead and do it. It's an open net, surely. And it will go bottom left. Astral had a bit of the goal covered. Bottom left corner will gladly welcome Vatira's shot.
Man, this is so difficult for Moist to deal with right now. Every time Karmine Corp land on the ground, their first instinct is to take out the goalkeeper. Astral, I feel, has done a magnificent job of avoiding those bumps, but when you're getting attacked that often, something is going to land. And Karmine Corp, well in sync, have got the players ready to follow. And that was maybe the key word coming into this one. 2 new rosters. Vatira up against Rise, and Rise will be happy that was right at him. But Vatira and the rest of his squad look in sync.
Yeah, to make matters even worse for Moist and to really make Karmine Corp fans all the happier. You know, we've had a lot of kickoffs to criticize this weekend, but I've got no bad things to say about that last one from Karmine Corp. 2-goal lead. Did they cover the goal? Yes, they did. Vatira half flipped the right way, had the net covered, so even if there was an early shot, it would not have been a problem for them to deal with. Credit to them. If we're going to be calling out teams for mistakes like the one Moist made at the end of Game 1, the same way we've got to give credit to Karmine Corp for doing it right in Game 2.
Exotic. Who's going to be the follow-up on this? KC are just taking their spots now. We discussed this on Friday, Johnny, about how the team that is winning want as little chaos as possible. They want a boring game of Rocket League, and the team that's behind, they need chaos. They need to just start everything happening. If there is a team that is capable of doing that, Moist are the team that can do that.
Yeah, they're a team who really have thrived in chaotic situations and continue to look like a team who are going to benefit from that sort of game, but Karmine Corp are not giving it to them. They're spreading out, they're covering as many options as they can, and they seem like they've got multiple players ready for any push that Moist make. Joyo trying to fire the ball long for Astral. He's really banged that one on past Astral, who wasn't in a bad position by any means. It just shows that Moist are really pushing themselves to the limit here. That was a thunderous clear, and unless you connect it, then it's just going to be a giveaway of possession.
Nice.
Once again, they've sent it hard down the middle. Karmine Corp are in position.
I do love that they are leaving multiple players around as Joyo, 2 players sent. And that was enough to keep that ball away. But with 80 seconds on the clock, this is Moist's opportunity. And it's just got taken away. Vatira outplaying everybody. Can't quite find the stair. Astral has to play the defensive side of the ball. He cannot afford to look for anything else. But this is such a bad position. And Vatira knew that he had it scored before he even arrived at the ball.
And Rise and Astral both committing to the corner challenge. Joyo a bit late back. Went for the in and out save. Not able to connect it. So, whereas Karmine Corp are now the team who are really, I think, just looking dominant in the midfield. They look quick. Anytime that Moist trying to make something happen, Karmine Corp are there to react to it, and then Karmine Corp make a simple play happen. Even in a back corner, you've got Moist players double committing, panicking. So they look like the team who are struggling to hold it all together here in the grudge match. Vatira and his new team, meanwhile, is completely cold. There's not a mistake to be seen from these guys. Well, actually, just I say that. They drive into each other, but even that's going to go somewhat in their favor.
Oh, Vatira's still sticking around. 40 seconds, 3-goal lead. It's a little bit of a sign of KC thinking that this one's already done and they can just go for some style. And as with 30 seconds left now, this has been so good from Karmine Corp.
Dominant. 14
Are we saying timeout after this? Surely.
Oh, yeah, has to be a timeout here for Moist. If not, I think mainly just to settle down the nerves, if that's what they want to put this down to. If they just want to put it down to, a bad start to a series, that's fine by me as well. But they've got to slow down the Karmine Corp momentum, especially in an emotionally charged match like this one. Karmine Corp are synergizing to a higher level than Moist. They are reading Moist to a much higher level than Moist are able to read them. And when you've got 3 mechanical players all in the Fennec, like Karmine Corp, you've got to try and make things unpredictable. You've got to try and get them out of their comfort zone. Moist, known for doing that to pretty much every team that they play against, completely unable to do it in this second game.
For me, whilst most of it has been going KC's way, the big thing has been those transitions, and we do get the confirmation, a timeout by Moist. They have to, really. But for me, the transition game has been the big one because it is the tale of 2 completely different halves. Karmine Corp, if they want to pass out, it's working fine. If they want to air dribble it out, they seem to just mix up the heights enough that Moist Esports cannot get enough purchase on the ball, or if any purchase on the ball. And you look on the other side, Moist can't surprise KC at the moment. Nothing they do results in too much panic.
And I think that is, the main problem for Moist is that even in series where they're losing, even in series where they're trailing, which historically it's something that happens fairly often. They've had to make many a reverse sweep in the past. They've had to go to game 5 many times, and it's usually the game 5 ice and the refusal to give up on a series which is not going well for them. That's what's made Moist Esports such a legendary team to watch. But they've not had any of that today. They had that perfect chance in game 1, late equalizer. Momentum swings back in their favor at the closing stages of the game, and then they just threw it away with a risky kickoff strategy. They've been punished, and game 2 is completely in favor of Karmine Corp. Moist have got to figure out a way, even on days like this. In the past, they've always got their unpredictability to fall back on. That's what I'll be looking out for in this third game. Can they be unpredictable? Because right now it looks like everything that they try to do, Karmine Corp are one step ahead of them.
Well, so far for Europe, it is the 6-1 record after a timeout has been called for the team that did call the timeout, going ahead to win it. The Moist need more of the same. This is their one timeout, been and gone. Still, KC will have theirs if they feel like they need it later on. But right now, it is all about Moist, just finding something different. And I always find that, for me, the sign that we are seeing a very dominant series is when we end up talking about the midfield game and saying it's won, so easily by one particular team, because that means we're saying the other team's not really got anything going yet. We can't go in to everything else that the other team's doing because we're not really getting an opportunity to see it. Outside of a couple of misplays in game 1, it has been nothing else for Moist, and they need something, anything, especially this first goal. We are heading into game number 3, DFH Stadium. Let's see if the answers have been found.
Luckily for Moist, hold that thought. Almost again. In fact,
it's the same.
2 shots. I mean, we don't even have a chance to, talk about the positives for Moist in this matchup, as they've almost conceded another kickoff goal. It's all going wrong from the only set piece in the game for them. I was going to say, luckily for them, they just need one of their players, any of their players, to step up and make that big play. They're all capable. We've seen it from them all in the past. Rise, Joyo, and now Astral have all been known for their ability to make that one big play happen that can completely turn around the momentum of a series. The issue in game 2 is that none of them were able to make that play. They were all trying. They were all investing a lot of their boost on every single play, trying to catch Karmine Corp by surprise, trying to force them into awkward positions. Nobody was able to actually make it stick, as a crossbar shot now comes in for Rise. They're going to keep the ball active in the Karmine Corp half here. Joyo just has to vacate the area. Boost being invested heavily by Moist on these attacking plays, with no real shots to show for it. Now there's one. Rise denied by his former teammate Batira.
Just needs to start going in for Moist. That was the best passage of the play they've had in quite some time, but still nothing to show for it. You will expect to see more of that. Joyo's trying to get there in time, but Itachi too strong.
Once again, it is Karmine Corp who just have what it takes to force the issue. Itachi placing the ball behind the pre-jumping goalkeeper there. He forces it into the bottom corner. The Moist just don't look comfortable. They don't look ready. They don't look prepared. Whenever Karmine Corp advance, they're having to quickly turn around. They're having to reposition because they're not preemptively in the right places to stop these attacks from working.
Right now, I'm looking towards Rise a little bit. I'm not saying he's necessarily the player that I feel like has been struggling the most. He's just usually the player that I can rely on the most to be popping off. And right now, he has just not had the opportunity to. It's usually Rise plus somebody. Right now, it's nobody. Nobody has had a chance. It's been KC all over them. Joyo going to try and find a way out of here. And Astral just has to jump, loiter, buy some time, hope for some help to turn up. A good clear, though. Follow from Rise, unchallenged for quite a while, and that's actually a player out of nowhere. Can they get somebody to follow up? No, instead Exotic just calmly guides the ball away and says that there was no problem at all.
I think the game plan for Moist appears to be just to stick with the fast-paced Rocket League and try and force the issue here against Karmine Corp. And based on what we've seen so far today, I don't think that's the way to play this. I feel like this synergy that we've seen from Moist this tournament, the passing plays, the spread out positioning, the options that they've usually got in every attack. That's been missing for me today. It doesn't look like they've got options whenever they move forward. They've got maybe one, sometimes none at all. And I think if they were just a little bit more spread out in the field, they'd have more to aim for. They'd have more to really shoot for. And that's actually a decent team pitch. Is getting bounced off the ceiling before being saved by Exotic. Where are those dangerous passing plays in the final third from Moist? Where are those connections that we're so used to seeing?
This feels like we need more of what we expect from Moist, but KC also might be hoping for it as we get a couple of demos through and no follow-up. KC can reposition.
Yeah, Rise was not contested on that aerial, but he just missed it. He's just feeling the pressure here, trying to go as fast as he can, trying to get the early read. And they've decided that anything less
just
than
hit 50 score.
as fast as possible is not going to work. They're just not putting it together here. Down by one still. They're in this, but the longer they go without seeing any success, and after a timeout as well, the less they're going to believe in themselves.
You know, we need that reverse sweep if they want to bring it back if they lose this one. As I'm sure you heard an awful lot throughout Worlds and throughout London. That's not really all that easy. Furia got very close. That close is about as good as most teams are able to do. There's Exotic. Not getting too much on it, but it does bump Astro away. Well, you're on the wrong side of the ball. You might as well make something of your position.
And just look at what just one small 50-50 win can do just out of nowhere. You know, a little 50-50 and just a tiny bump is all it took to get the entire Moist roster out of position, because they're all stacking up on one side of the field. They're all queuing up, waiting for their chance to make a play on the ball. I think they're really just rushing it here. They've got to be a bit more patient, as now they almost concede again. Is another instance of just everybody wanting to move forward, everybody wanting to aggress the ball. They're not being patient with this one at all. They're being continually punished. That's surely going to be another one. Exotic puts it over the line. I don't think Matira even needed any help with this one. Great stuff by Karmine Corp. Completely dominant performance ever since that kickoff goal for game number 1.
I think for a lot of KC fans, despite how good they have been, there will still be that sigh of relief, because if there's any team that you do not want a goal behind you with 0 seconds on the clock, it tends to be Moist. So getting that second goal, getting that comfort, absolutely massive for them, and it will be reverse sweep required.
Crazy.
Vatira holds all the cards right now. Moist need to shuffle the deck, because at the moment, this is looking so rough as they do get one to take for the road.
Right, there's your second goal, the classic Moist 0 second goal, but like you said, Karmine Corp had that 2-goal advantage, so they're quite okay in this situation. That's why you need to be 2 goals up against this team, and Rise, the guy who's always scoring those 0 second goals in particular. But yeah, the Moist guys just do not look composed when you look at how they're positioning on the field, and when you look at how they're reacting when it's their turn to make a play on the ball. They just look rushed. They look like they're not feeling comfortable on the pitch right now, whereas Karmine Corp, just composure personified. Every move that they make and every decision that they make just seems to be calculated and effective, and really more than anything else, efficient. Moist have not been any of those things today.
So we've had an awful lot of talk here about Moist, about Vatira. I want to talk a little bit about Exotic and Itachi, because Exotic is a player that I feel like we've had eyes on for an awful long time about this guy could really be something. He looks comfortable right now. This is a high level matchup, and it's like he's always been here. This has been his series, and I feel like he's been the player.
I'm delighted for him. You know, Exotic, we've talked about this in the past, season 9 of Rival Series. He qualified for RLCS. Then the open format happened, and in RLCS Season X, he did not really make any splashes. Same thing that in the last RLCS season, really nothing to write home about until Semper signed him for the last split. They made World Championship, and people started to take notice of Exotic and think, hold on, maybe this guy is more than a ranked player. And it's phenomenal to finally see him on a top tier team and to let him show what he can do, because I feel like he's been at this level for a long time. He just never had the team in order to show it, and this is his chance. He's seizing it with both hands.
Same thing over there for Itachi, because it's one of the... Oh, wait a minute. That's them caught out. And Rise. Oh, Itachi will get to you soon enough, mate, because for now, Rise wants to make it the Moist show.
Yeah, it looks like Exotic was expecting Vatira to at least get a 50-50 there. So he advanced into a position where he could react to said 50-50. But Vatira actually did not have any boost, so there's no chance that he could get to the ball. Not sure if that was communicated quickly enough in order for Exotic to make the correct decision, or if he just did not react to that information being told to him. Either way, what we do know is that Exotic was off his line, and that completely left him incapable of defending the simple shot. Moist 1-0.
That is also Moist first. No, actually, I completely forgot about the 0-second goal. That ruins what I was about to say, and we might be about to add another one.
Oh my.
Exotic clears, and actually, that was a large commitment. Is that open? Who wants it? Somebody claim it. What? Oh, they've not scored it! Oh, dearie me. Well, unfortunately, KC, that one's going to get replayed for a few years.
Oh, just as we're singing his praises, Exotic completely misses the open net. To make matters worse, had he just hit that any more softly, one of his teammates would have been able to catch up to it and put it in.
Boys score as well. Oh my goodness.
It's 2-0, boys. Well. A twist in the script. Just when you thought it's all over, Karmine Corp make a massive mistake, and Moist put another goal in the bag.
KC just went onto the field and twisted their own ankle. And that's the only way I can describe that play. By the way, good news for everybody. Yeah, even the pros missed the open nets. They shouldn't, but hey, Moist are certainly not complaining.
That was the biggest open net. He could have hit that to the right and put it out for, essentially a throw-in if we had no walls.
They had 3 people, between them and the goal, and Moist were entirely behind the entire team. They were not getting there.
It was more than an open net miss. That was an open, anywhere but there.
That's an open field.
If he literally hit the ball in any other way but that, I think it's a goal. Just hit it off up into the air, hit it into the grounds, control it, pass it to your teammate, score. Obviously, anywhere but exactly wall hugging, and it's the goal. But that was the perfect touch if you're trying to not score. So, in a way, it is impressive, but for the wrong reasons.
Well, for now, it's up to KC. I mean, they want us to stop talking about this. Go and score a goal, make a game of this. Because they have handed it away. A gift from Moist in the first game has been given a gift back as they get the demo on the back line. Nothing else for it so far, but Tira off the backboard. Second touch, Exotic is there, and Exotic will be denied.
We can probably put any Exotic mistake in this game down to that mistake that he made earlier on. It's a tough one to forget about. It's a tough one to just reset your mental on until you do get a chance at a timeout. But we also saw Itachi completely air an uncontested low aerial moments ago. So it's not just Exotic here. Suddenly, Karmine Corp looked to be a little bit rattled. That's bizarre.
Take a timeout after this one.
I would take a timeout.
Genuinely, you might as well.
Actually, not even joking. Take the timeout after this loss. You need it. It's just one of those games. It's a silly game. It happens. Like I said, it happens to pros. But when it does happen, you've got to reset the mental. You've got to get that restart because Karmine Corp, other than that today, have looked solid.
Yeah, it's very clearly been a detriment to what we've seen from KC in this series. And you don't want that bleeding over to another 5 minutes of gameplay. Take the timeout, reset, go in fresh for the rest of the 15 minutes that you might have left. What a save! Astral! I thought he wasn't here to defend like Vatira. That looked pretty brilliant to me.
Perfect pass from Vatira, but Astral just got goal side of it and put in an unbelievably good 50-50. That needed to be in order to go clear of the danger. What a critical save as well. Had Karmine Corp sliced that lead from 2-1, we could have easily seen another kickoff goal. Could end up at the back of the Moist net based on how things are going today. So it's absolutely critical that Moist don't go back to the kickoff today. They've got to keep this at 2-0 if they're going to close this one out consistently.
Drops down. We're heading towards that sort of zone with a 2-goal lead. Looks more and more solid. Itachi wanted to keep it going. He's actually got the bump on Astral, used the ball for a reset and then just slid away. 30 seconds. Moist inching closer and closer. Their first game win. Itachi back to the corner. Has he got the setup? Vatira went early and couldn't find the ball. Exotic looking for one final opportunity. And if they can just get this ball away Moist, And it will be their game to take. And I'm sure this was not how they imagined starting to make their comeback, but they will fully take it. Moist Esports 1, Karmine Corp 3.
So we do have a series in our hands still. A long, long way to go. Like you mentioned, the amount of...
They're not looking like that,
week,
surely.
Yeah, I'm not going to subscribe to it yet. I don't see a reverse sweep happening, really, if I'm honest with you, based on how Moist have played this one today. You've got to think that Karmine Corp are going to be able to bounce back. I've not heard anything about a timeout yet, but they've still got that in the bag. If they end up losing another game, I'm sure they would take one. But I guess they're just going to try and just get that mental reset in the 1 minute. No additional time needed. Maybe they view the timeout as a sign of weakness. They don't want to let on their...
It's admitting that it went wrong.
Let their biggest rivals know that they're inside their own heads.
Yeah, I mean... So for Moist, it's great. You're on the board, you got it, but you didn't necessarily show a play style that... Every time we see this, we're after, okay, is that something you can replicate? We're not really looking at if Moist can replicate that. You're just basically asking, do Karmine Corp do that 3 more times? And the answer is surely no. It's like... It's still on Moist for me to make us believers, you know, show us something that you can do 3 more times.
Yeah, it is impressive. You know, we had a messy game there, but we've got to talk about how impressive Karmine Corp's defense in midfield has been today, because that was for me the biggest question mark in the earlier stages of this tournament. They just did not look like they were organized at all, whereas today they've been extremely organized. They've got a game plan and they're sticking to it. So that's, I think, the big difference. Look at how easy it is for them to get through Moist. Once again, as a 50-50 goes in their favor, Itachi just controls the engagement completely. Astral decides to turn around and come at that one from another angle. It didn't work out at all.
And that's so big for Karmine Corp as well, because whilst we do go from one map to another, the best way to put a bookend on what was a pretty poor game for themselves... Oh, wait a second. Exotic is just going to get there in time. The shot wasn't on target anyway. But the best way to put a bookend on it and just reset yourself entirely is just to get the goal. All right, cool. None of it matters anymore. We're right back to doing what we do best. And pressure straight back over to Moist. Astral looking for the outplay of everybody. He's got Exotic jumping, and they've created so much space. Astral made himself big, made everyone respect him.
And this is what we've been waiting for from Moist. Astral, they're faking the stealing play, just jumps back down to the ground. Missed touch from Karmine Corp, you know, trying to get a read of what Astral was doing there. Exotic trying to drop it down in the corner. Rise reads him and follows up quickly for the shot. Kickoff's gone.
Oh, it's the third man
away though, and it will go in the back of the net. Rise commits from the back corner. He knew there was a threat here, tried to 50-50 the ball to safety, but Itachi completely absorbed him. That left it open for Vatira. Another kickoff goal for Karmine Corp.
What's the old Fairy Peak 50-50 mantra? Just don't lose it. That's all Itachi had to do. Just don't lose it.
How do you win 50-50s? You try not to lose them. It's the, you know, the way. It's so tempting to try and get a big win on every 50-50, but you're last man and there's 3 players standing up in front of you. Probably a better idea to just try and, you know, make sure that one goes sideways. It's anywhere but staying exactly where it is.
Well, there's actually nobody left, and what a pass! What a goal! I need to see if I'm absolutely certain Vatira is pre-jumped. I just don't believe it. But,
he's just so
oh, wow. It looks it half the time.
The pass was perfect. Exotic just fired that one into the lane that Vatira wanted it to be in. And he could get up immediately for it and slam it in with absolutely nothing left up to chance. Now Rise with the chance quickly after the kickoff is taken. This is what Moist want. They need volatility. They need quick fire opportunities. Once again, their attack breaks down off the back of a, you know, kind of a reasonable clear ball. I wouldn't say that was a hard clear. It was just somewhere near the midfield line. But it's still going over the top of Moist. They're committing so far forward, time and time again.
You need to get contact on balls like that one. 4 goals scored. You wouldn't think that we're only 90 seconds into this game, but we are. And that is plenty of time for Moist to work with. Cannot let another one go past them, though. Joyo, a couple of wall dashes. Oh, Joyo actually almost landed on that one. Don't quite know where that would have gone otherwise. Now Itachi. Quick transition to the opposite side of the field. Set up Exotic off the backboard. Astral drops it back down to Joyo. This is where the majority of the difficulty has been. They just can't get rid of it. As Rise gets a very crucial touch. But that midfield is owned by KC, and this series could be as well.
And far too many touches just going over the head of the entire Moist lineup. Rise and Joyo both advancing there at the exact same time. All goes over their heads, and it's just an awkward one to try and turn around and read. It's been the story of the series for me, or one of them. There's been a few, of course. Moist are just so eager to get into attack, but they're forgetting to look out for potential 50-50s going against them. They're forgetting to look out for dangerous clears going over their heads. Meanwhile, Karmine Corp just clinical with every advancing move that they make, not taking any unnecessary risks. And even with that chaotic game that they've lost, prior to this, they didn't even need a timeout to reset the mental. They've just gone and smashed Moist in the first half of Game 5.
Zera looking to try and add the finishing touches. Almost got the doink goal, but it's just going to slide past the goal. Instead, Itachi fakes out. Everyone's got to respect these aerials. And Moist just don't seem to know how they are going to get out of a position like this one. They're the team that need 3 goals. They do not look like it at the moment. AC comfortably in control of their side of the field. And this looks like it could be vindication.
They've been far better today. We've seen a completely one-sided matchup, and it's been one-sided in terms of the game plan. It's been one-sided in terms of the strategy. Oh, that's a great goal though. Rise reads the backboard miss and gives Moist a lifeline. I was about to say that it's been one-sided mechanically as well, because I really do think that Karmine Corp, despite not being flashy with it, have been the quicker of the two teams and the more effective with their touches, the more efficient with their boost management. Those are mechanical, aspects of the game. They've dominated that as well. But just before I could say that, Rise doubles in the second goal, and there's still time on the clock. There's another double. This one's saved by Itachi.
Let's just explode into the series instead of Itachi, looking to quiet them down just a little bit more. Astral off the wall up against Vatira. Good pass back to Rise, but that's not going to trouble anybody. And let's have a look at transition game from KC. Can they get the ball out of this side of the field? There's 3 players all in the corner. It's a 3-man wall, and they have escaped. Exotic sets himself up. He fakes out, but it doesn't quite work. Joyo is not letting that one happen to him, and quite rightly so.
Yeah, Exotic once again showing his value, bouncing back individually. It's a bit of a team fail in that last game, but Exotic, of course, had the big open net miss, which denied Karmine Corp the sweep, or the setup for the sweep at least. But he is right back into action in this game, and really proving himself as a top-tier player. And speaking about proving yourself, Vatira silencing all the doubters right now. So many question marks about his departure of Moist, his decision to leave as well, as has been spoken about openly by both himself and his former teammates. Right now, that looks like a decision which has immediately resulted in success. Grand final, just 20 seconds away.
Them versus Oxygen. Both teams looking dominant in their semi-final matchups. But unless we get a goal from this push, then it looks like that is the way we are going to go. Rise looks for one more. They are not going to get one extra kickoff. Instead, Karmine Corp find their vindication. They move on.
Absolutely dominant as well. They have destroyed Moist Esports. And, other than the 2-2 storyline in Game 1, there was not another moment in this series where it looked like Moist were in this one. Karmine Corp rolled them over completely. They had a better game plan, and they had even without one, I think they still looked like the better players in the pitch today. Moist looked rattled. They looked like they're rushing themselves. It looked like the pressure really got to them, and this is a grudge match. I think that this was personal, at least in some ways, and it looked like that affected Moist Esports more than it affected Karmine Corp. So they just couldn't get their game plan to work out today. We've seen brilliance from Moist even in this tournament. I think this roster will work out this split and this season, but today belongs to Karmine Corp.
And now I want to go back to what I was going to try and say earlier. I think now is the better time than any. Itachi holding the line for his team in that winning game. over on Karmine Corp last season. He had Nolly and Astral both for teammates. That's two teammates that whenever we see them on teams, they're the players that people talk about. It's actually relatively unheralded on the majority of the rosters that he has been on. Today, he got to prove that he's not just along for the ride. Johnny, we're going to get a chance to talk about this more after the break, but we're going to head over there when we come back. Grand Finals time.